I don't think we're one people. I think we're many people. And I think there are many aspects of Jewish culture and history that are interesting to study and that I identify with, and others that I do not. I feel like I have more in common with my newly converted Catholic friend who is pro-choice and politically similar to my point of view than I do with an Orthodox person who believes that the Torah is from Sinai. So no, I don't think we're one people, but I think that it's terrifically interesting to study many aspects of the cultures of the Jewish people and history of the different groups of Jewish people all across the world. I'm really interested in that and I identify with that, but I don't think of us as one people.
Jewish nation is unique like all nations in the world. Our uniqueness is being a nation of many, many cultures, many Jewish cultures. Judaism, as the culture of the Jewish people, is made of many Jewish cultures with many Jewish languages. But all of us are united in the feeling and the consciousness of being Jews. All of us are united because we can be in one of the many, many Judaisms within Judaism. You don't stop being Jewish if you are religious or non-religious. You don't stop being Jewish if you belong to one of the many, many Jewish cultures in the world. On the contrary, the lack of uniformity is the condition of our unity. It was like that always. Even in the biblical times, Jews had many cultures, many gods, many beliefs, many religions, but all of them were Jews. During all the periods after the destruction of the first temple and the second temple, of the first Jewish state in Eretz Israel, the second Jewish state in Eretz Israel, the third Jewish state in Eretz Israel, and now the establishment of the fourth Jewish state in Eretz Israel, during all these periods, Judaism was multicultural. And this gave us a special kind of richness. The richness of Jewish culture depends on its non-uniformity. The richness of Jewish culture depends on the fact that it's being developed in the various Judaisms, in the various Jewish cultures. And therefore, we do not fight our non-uniformity, but we rely on our uniformity, on our unity, because we know that all of us feel we are Jews. We are Jews because we have a feeling of solidarity to all Jews in the world. We are Jews because all of us have to face the fact of anti-Semitism, which is as old as Jewish diaspora. All of us have to face this fact, and all of us have to fight this fact. And all of us are conscious of the terrible catastrophe, which was the high point of the development of anti-Semitism, the Shoah. And therefore all of us are also conscious of the great solution of Zionism by creating the State of Israel, by giving the Jews again the same rights that every nation in the world has, the right of being independent, the right of developing its own culture in its own language, the national language, the Hebrew language, which is the basis, like the Bible, of the new culture developed in Israel, of the new Jewish culture developed in Israel, which is a Jewish Hebrew culture. But the Jewish Hebrew culture in Israel is part of a long tradition of Jewish Hebrew cultures that were developed all over the world. Therefore, we feel that the unity of the Jewish nation does not depend on our being one in the sense of being alike each other. On the contrary, the unity of the Jewish nation depends on us being different from each other. having a dialogue of different Judaisms with each other. The secular Jewish culture, which was developed in the 19th and the 20th century, first in Europe and America, then in Israel, this secular Jewish culture is now the continuation of the history of Jewish culture in the world. It's the continuation of Judaism. And it includes, as a principle, the pluralism and the consciousness of plurality, which is the characteristic of our nation and of our culture.
I believe that the Jews are one people. However, one of the greatest challenges of this assertion is that it's difficult to understand exactly what we mean when we describe ourselves as a people. The idea of Jewish peoplehood is incredibly vague. Peoplehood is not even a proper English word, and until recently, the Hebrew language didn't have a word for it. They've only recently coined the word amiyut, and it's not in widespread usage. But for all of its drawbacks, the Jewish people and Jewish peoplehood still seem to work best. Is it possible that the haziness of these descriptions is what enables us to embrace them? After all, the more that we try to pin Jewishness down to a precise definition, the less we are likely to agree on it. Some, like the Israeli government, consider Jewishness a nationality. Others describe Jewishness as an ethnic, religious, or cultural belonging. No one can agree on the universal applicability of any of these, which leaves us with the concept of peoplehood. Personally, I like it because it's so vague. The way many of us think of Jewish peoplehood evokes notions of a family. As with a family, belonging to the Jewish people is characterized by a sense of loyalty, commitment, and attachment. Like most families, the Jewish people harbor some very enormous differences in worldviews among its members. I prefer to use the word family, but I don't think describing Jewishness as a sense of belonging to the Jewish family is likely to catch on. So, Jewish peoplehood it is.